we'll front load the handicap, and here we go. How you doing, everybody? This is Dennis Michelson. Welcome to the science of fantasy football. Why the science of fantasy football? Well, you get a biologist and a meteorologist together. They're going to use the scientific method that is guaranteed to make you a smarter fantasy football player. How can I give guarantees in something so crazy as fantasy football? Well, using the scientific method just means using statistics in a smarter way. And you don't have to be a science major to figure out how to do that. You just need to listen to the professor and I, and we will guide you along the way. And joining me as he does each and every week, he is the fantasy professor. He's a real professor. It's John Bush. And John, Thursday night football, it got me again. What a difference between two halves of football, and the Jets looked like the Jets in the first half, and the Texans looked like the Jets in the second half.
Yeah, it was stark. Uh, it was, the under. I think you were right about that, if I
That was my
remember.
that was my confidence pick. Yes.
Yeah. I, like I said, my only issue, I did not play uh, Aaron. I had some other choices, but I did back those teams up with a third quarterback. I discussed that because
Yeah.
if he would have lost, I'm not sure he'd be the quarterback next week, and so I just didn't want to be holding the bag on him. It seemed like Deontay kind of woke. I mean it's like the second half they started gelling. I don't know if they had to get mad. I don't know if him and Deontay say, okay, all fooling aside now, we've had lots of yucks and glad you're here, but now we got to take care of business. It's kind of like watching the Blues Brothers come on stage with the harmonica in the briefcase handcuffed. The first, they're not really serious. All of a sudden, they're serious. They're opening up and pulling out their harmonica, and once that happens, it's kind of like the Excalibur. Once you pull that out, it's go time, and that's what it looked like to me. Uh, uh, just kind of the narrative about Breece Hall, kind of
Oh,
not. He's, imagine him being on another team that would use him. Imagine him being with Tennessee. I mean,
oh
as
yeah.
much run as
Yeah.
Pollard's got with, his gimp together wheels, and having Breece Hall, some stud guy there. I mean, you could imagine or he could be the Henry on that team. But
Yeah.
with Allen, with everything, the circus going, he's a part. And it reminds me of the second half, kind of like how the Chiefs proceed. They have a lot of good pieces. They put them in the right order, and then their defense shuts the other folks down. And it's like they became the Chiefs for that second half, Dennis. And I know you'd appreciate that
Okay.
reference there, but that's
Oh,
what I saw when I looked at that game.
yeah. And all of a sudden, the Texans couldn't run the ball after getting 91 yards out of Mixon in the first half.
Thank God.
They got
I'm
maybe
glad.
20.
Yeah, and I'll take those points. I didn't set him. I played him.
No, I had him in the lineup. I had kind of a mix of Rodgers. I don't have any Rodgers in redraft. I got a couple of shares of him, in deep dynasty that I've had for years, and I benched one and played one, and actually played two, benched one out of my three Rodgers shares. And if not for Garrett Wilson making three of the most spectacular catches, two of them for touchdowns that
He
I've
sprayed his hands with that stick 'em spray. I'm telling you, that I'll never forget that. I don't know, some skit or so. I don't even know where I saw it, but just they were making fun of stick 'em spray your
Oh yeah.
hands, instant glue on your hands, and that's how it looked. And OBJ used to do that. A few
Yep.
others can do that. Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was so entertaining. It's like I actually woke up. First half, I'm just kind of ho hum. Another, it's just like you're sitting there and you're eating the old salad. You go to your in-laws' house and they're serving you this crappy old food, and all of a sudden they pull out the good stuff. It's like, hold it, what's going on? Did I come into some money? Is that why they're trying to be nice to me, pull out the ribeyes or something here after giving me this old stale salad with them old stale croutons? Yeah, we call that, you get that bread and you age it for a couple months, and there's your croutons for your guest. Dennis, I got some tricks to run off those in-laws. Uh, I got the extendable fork. Dennis, you ever seen it? And if they, I pull that out and start stabbing at their plate, just kind of get them out of here. I don't know. I'm bad. You do not want to invite me because I would get thrown out. And my wife has to.
Oh my
Yeah, I got
goodness.
an extendable fork. I pulled that out one time, and my wife just sent daggers to me. But I thought it was funny. You ever seen that thing? You have the fork and you pull it.
That,
It's like a pointer, a TV antenna. It has a fork on the end, so you can
I
reach
like
across the
that.
table and get the.
I think I
In
think
case
that's a
your
heck of
in-laws
an
get the
idea.
best cuts of the meat, you could take it back. No, I don't think you will have that. Here's some gristle. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
some
okay.
great advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great
Keep
advice
this extendable.
for
You could put it under glass, Dennis, and if it's getting too crazy at the dinner table, everybody's eating too much, you can just go break the glass, pull out the extendable fork, and start stabbing everybody's plate and put the meat back.
Oh my goodness. I think that is good advice
Yeah.
indeed. Not only do you get great fantasy football advice,
Yeah.
you get great
Etiquette advice. Eh,
holiday dinner etiquette advice.
Yeah.
And one other thing we're going to give you
Yeah.
today and today only.
Yeah.
How
What we
about
going?
some Breeders' Cup forecasting advice? You and I have loved the horse racing game for so many years. I still do.
Yeah.
I'm a more casual uh, handicapper than I was back in the day, but still enjoy it. And one of the things, I mean, last weekend was Breeders' Crown for harness racing over at the Meadowlands. Enjoyed that thoroughly, and caught a couple of winners this week, and enjoyed the juvenile races. Those are your rising stars. A lot of 2-year-old races yesterday out there at Del Mar. What a beautiful racetrack that is out there in California, Del Mar by the sea. But today, the big races, and we're not going to take you through the whole card because this is a fantasy football show, but we are going
Yeah.
to give you some tips for 3 of the big races.
Yeah.
And one of my
Eh,
favorite events every year
Yeah.
at the Breeders' Cup is the turf race because
Okay.
I've always loved turf racing, and the turf race at the Breeders' Cup is always such a challenge. And I think I got a winner. I think I got a winner for the good folks, but I think I also got a
Uh,
couple of long shots to play in the exotics.
Yeah.
But my top pick, my favorite
This is
international,
uh Del Mar Breeders' Cup race. Is it 7?
7, I believe. Yes,
Yeah,
it's the turf.
long. Yeah, the Breeders' Cup Turf Classic Grade 1. As of this morning, we're doing it Saturday morning. I think there's 13 horses here,
Oh yeah, big field,
and
big field.
there are some interesting questions. I see Adrian O'Brien brought
Yes.
2 here. I'm
Oh
looking,
yeah.
and he
Eh,
one has got his house jock Ryan Moore, and another one is Wayne Lorgan, which that may be the up and coming jock. He got a weight break 119, so he must be a youngin. That horse. Anyway, who's our winner, Dennis?
Well, I like the other great
English horse?
trainer from over in England. I like the number 11 horse,
Yeah,
Rebels Romance. You're not getting a price on this one.
yeah, he's the
Okay.
favorite.
He's the favorite, but William Buick is my favorite international jock. I love playing some of the international races in the morning
Mhm.
over there in Europe, and William Buick is just always so solid. And Charles Appleby, Appleby and O'Brien, the two best trainers. It reminds me of when Baffert and Dwayne Lucas were always the two guys you could count on here in the States. They were always 1-2 when it came to these big races. It's the same way internationally with
I'm looking
Appleby
at
and
the
O'Brien.
jock trainer. Looks like maybe did they have two entries yesterday? Says
It's
current meet, they've ran third twice. They've only had
yes,
two. So in the last 365 days, those two have teamed up 27% winners,
yeah,
11 out of 22 first or second. So in your exacta, you could have hit half the exactas with this combination. And a lot of people play trainer jock stats. I'm just looking at I use Twin Spires, and I'm
yep.
looking at the thing there, and quite interesting there. So, Dennis, do you have a long shot in that race?
I've got a longer shot,
A
not
long.
quite a, a non-favorite, let's say, but kind of
Okay.
a middle-priced horse. My second pick in this race, I like Farbridge. The European horses usually dominate because we just don't run a lot of these lengths of turf races here in the
Six to
States. This,
one.
this is a mile and a half race, 6-1 in the morning line. And you get Joel Rosario, who's really solid on the turf. Christophe Clement, an excellent trainer who's been doing good things here. And, he's got a tremendous, one of the best speed figures in the race, is why I like him. And coming off of a back-to-back wins here at the distance, one at Belmont, or actually the Big A, and one at Saratoga. The Saratoga course and Del Mar, though, are so different. Del Mar's a pretty tight track for a big turf race. So that's the only thing that concerns me about some of the European horses at Del Mar is the difference of the turf course. So that's why I've got an American horse kind of in there as one of my picks, and he's probably the best of the U.S. horses.
Okay. I am actually prepping my bet even as we speak. I play superfectus. I play horses that I think will come in the money, but not win. Even though a lot of times my horses at long shots win, but traditionally long shots are long shots, Dennis. So I try to sweeten up a dime superfecta play. So I've got two that I will be focusing on this week. The cheap one is the number 3 horse, 10-1 morning line, and has a insane kick of the ones that we can measure. Can't measure the European horses that well, but he's the ball, should be flying late. And the other one should be right there is the 8 horse at 30-1, Cabo
Ooh,
Spirit. And the
yep.
other one is Sharara something. I don't know what. Let's see. I don't even know who the jocks are on those. Let's see. The 8 is, oh yeah, there's none of them are the jockeys that I routinely bet, but that's fine. Uh, that's the ones I'm betting on, Dennis. The 3 and the 8 to mix in maybe with Dennis's plays. Maybe
Yeah, I
there's your
love
4, exacta box or a trifecta or something. What I found, Dennis, is a lot of times one of these horses will run second or third. And so, if you put some other logical folks in, I would play exactas and tries if you don't want to play the super. But I do second and fourth position. So I'm betting both of them come in the first four, and I'm trying to predict they're coming second and fourth. And I try to make it a $2.40 play that if it comes in with the right horses, you could be getting a W-2G form, which is the IRS taxes you again there. And so anyway, there's my long shot plays there. I have no clue. Some of those European horses are tricky.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, this is one of those fields in this race where you can make an excuse for anybody in this field winning. I love that three horse though. Another one of those Japanese horses that you look at some of their past performances and you say, why are they shipping this horse to come in
why
here?
spend all that money, Dennis,
And
to
they're
come
coming in
here?
to win. They're coming in to win because this is a horse that ran fifth in his last two races in Japan, but in between that, they shipped him to the Middle East, and he ran second in a huge stakes race. They're moving this horse. They're bringing him to California to win, and I love those Japanese horses. Those Japanese trainers really find those spots to win. Well, one of the other big races today is the Breeders' Cup Distaff. This is for the best female horses in racing, and this is the sixth race on the card out there in
Oh,
Del
six
Mar.
right. Okay. So
You're
yeah,
gonna
yeah, the distaff.
Distaff mile and an eighth. This is what I would say the classic distance for the best female horses. And you got a horse in here that has been such a story all year long. Probably the best story in horse racing since Zenyatta for a female horse. Torpedo Annie. If this horse runs her race, Torpedo Anna, the two horse, probably will be odds on, but I think you can beat her here. So I'm
Uh-oh.
going to try to beat this one, and I'm going to another Japanese horse because in the distaff, the Japanese shippers have done very well in the past. Not a big odds horse here, but awesome result is going to be my pick. Another well-traveled horse that's been around the world and coming off of a nice little winning streak here. So awesome result is one of the best Japanese mares in the business and undefeated in 7 starts. Incredible record for this 4-year-old. That is my pick to upset Torpedo Anna.
I like Sugarfish at 20 to 1. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, 7 times he's run, won 4 of them, placed 1 time. Morning line is 20 to 1. So I got a horse that's first or second 5 out of 7 at 20 to 1, Dennis, and has a nice late kick, can kick it late to get in the money. And the next horse is let me find this is a little bit more reasonable. Yeah, Raging Sea. Uh, is there in 7, actually 8 out of 11 in the money, Dennis, at 3.5 to 1. So that's probably the logical. Most people have at second or third choice, Dennis, but the sweetener is Sugarfish. And if those can come in with whoever, if the thing is, when I bet that it, the possibility that Torpedo Annie runs out of the money, let's say whatever, I still
Oh,
have a shot. And if that
huge.
happens, I really have a good shot. So you're not depending on the favorite. In fact, this is kind of a chaos. The way I bet is chaotic. Not that purposely, I don't get rid of the favorite, but I don't look to add just that's just how it happens. And that's going to be, I've already made the bet because that was easy to make. I'm going to have to go back on the turf and tweak a little bit. It was too much. I think it was, I got it down to 720 and I only want to bet $2.40. I'm cheap. But boy, if Sugarfish and Raging Sea come in there second and fourth, I got a good shot at this superfecta. And just to let you know, if you play superfectas in these big races, they're going to pay you more because
Oh
you
yeah.
got a lot of money. And I don't want to, they used to call it dumb money. I just think uninformed money. It's kind of like at, the league that you'll draft a player. There's going to be some uninformed people in there that are just, two sheets under the wind from last night and trying to draft with you. So you like those advantages, right? So I think I really like Sugarfish and I really like Raging Sea.
I got another long shot for you to consider
Yeah,
throwing in.
yeah.
The
This
number,
race.
yeah, the number 4 horse, Alice Veriti, another Japanese horse.
Yeah.
Here's you ready for the weirdest angle that you're ever going to hear in horse racing?
Okay. Weird single.
First race on the dirt for this horse makes
Yeah.
absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
And that's why a
That's why you want
Japanese
to bet it.
a Japanese horse that makes absolutely no sense. I trust the trainer and owner to have picked this race because they think they can win. If not, why not take a turf horse like this and put her on one of the other turf races? You move her over to the dirt in the distaff, you're doing it for a reason. I've seen too many horses come over here to American stakes races on the dirt, no dirt pedigree at all, no inkling that they can run on the dirt as well as they do on the turf. These Japanese trainers are wily dudes, man. They're clever, and I like that possibility.
Well, there you
They're
go.
in the distaff, and the distaff has been dominated over the years. I don't say dominated, but Japanese horses have done incredibly well in the distaff
Yep.
from year to year.
Okay.
One race that they have not done as well in, though, is our last race that we're going to handicap for you
Yep.
because it is the big one, folks. It is the race that everybody will be watching this afternoon. It is the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic at the Classic
It's the
American
eighth race.
Distance.
Why are they
Yes,
putting it
of a mile and a
at
quarter.
the eighth race? I wonder.
It I don't know why they're
In the
not.
tradition, it used to be the last. I mean, that was
It,
the last show when I'd
this
go back in the old
Yes.
days. I don't know.
Yes.
There must be
This
some. Is this trying to catch East Coast bettors before they go bet the degenerates that go bet basketball and hockey and
I
all that other
I'm
crap?
I'm not really sure because having this on, it'll be like 4:41 Central Time
Yeah,
post time.
so yeah,
That's way early.
yeah.
Usually this has traditionally been a race
Is
that's
that
gone off.
TV? Did the
It's got
TV
to be a
people?
TV thing. It's got to
Yeah,
be a
they want to
TV
show the reruns of Wheel of Fortune, so they gotta. Dennis is crazy. Don't get me going. Okay,
No. So
so tell me the
in this
winner.
race,
Yeah.
first of all, I think it's going to be a wide open field.
Okay,
Okay.
so Dennis, here we go. People should take Dennis's. You do two, and if he loses, then you bet four. This is the race you bet 10 units because Dennis is going to put it to bed in this race, Dennis.
I
So
got
it's
the winner.
all on
I
you.
got the winner for you. I
Okay.
got the winner, and he's going to be at a good price.
Okay.
Okay, good price.
Yeah.
The number 13 horse,
Yeah.
Newgate.
New. Sound like something in your chocolate bar.
So I'm
Nougat.
going with the 4-year-old
Number
against the
13, you say?
3-year-olds. Number 13, Newgate. Frankie Dettori
Oh,
and
hell.
Bob Baffert
Okay. So
teaming
there's
up
your
here.
thing. So the local trainer, I'm trying to find they're in Newgate, 4-year-old colt. Blinker back on trainer doesn't do well with that. So just they're Dennis, they're messing with his His equipment eligible to approve second start off the layoff. Sharp, 5 furlong work, but you and may improve with blinkers. Finished third last race. Finished 8 out of 11 total in the money. I mean, it's not crazy. What's the odds? 20 to
Uh,
1. Not bad.
20 to 1 morning line. And I love this horse. A 122 speed rating from this horse is its best. 23% jockey trainer win percentage when these two to get together. And when they get together, it's almost always in a big stakes race. So that's a pretty good winning percentage for a horse you're going to get 20 to 1 on. Also, like the number 2 horse here, Forever Young, Fierceness, the number 3, probably the best 3-year-old in training right now, will probably be in the hunt as well. And another long shot or longer shot that I like in here, um, you know, again, it's one of those picks about it won't be a long shot, but he should have been a better odds pick. Probably the best European horse right now. City of Troy making his dirt debut. This horse has dominated everything over in Europe. Great horse. Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien teaming up and making the dirt debut. What a race to pick to make your dirt debut, but he's won everything over in Europe this year. Their best 3-year-old and coming off the turf onto the dirt, not going to be a good price at all. 5 to 2 morning line. I think it could go up to maybe 7 to 2, 4 to 1, because he's not well known here in the States, but has really been the 3-year-old of the year over in Europe.
Okay, I am betting I've got it down to $6 on my super. Dennis, I am liking Sierra Leone
Oh,
at
yeah.
12 to 1.
Yep.
Has a nice finish. Uh, and the experts like him.
Oh, yeah.
28% trainer, finished third last race. Been in the money every time, Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
Six,
Yep.
six on dirt, two, two, and two. So, as a superfecta player, if I can get 12 to 1 horsed in there, I am very excited about Sierra Leone coming in the money. It's a 3-year-old even, Dennis.
Yes.
So there you go, folks. A lot of times, 3-year-olds really mature later in the year and they can surprise their elders. It's like they flash early, right? They have the breakout season happens late in their 3-year-old. A lot of times we have precocious horses that flash as 2-year-old, Dennis, and the Kentucky Derby people get a lot of attention to those. Sometimes those 3-year-olds flash late in their third in as a 3-year-old. So I like Sierra Leone, and my horse I will be playing my superfecta with is Newgate. Dennis's horse. How did that happen? That means it's an automatic throw out, Dennis, because we're both, that's heavy. That's a heavy burden for Newgate to carry. Okay. It's just too much. That horse is just going to crumble. But his pace figures, he's going to be flying
Yes.
like a freight
Yep.
train to hit the board as well. So Sierra Leone and Newgate will be coming in, and I'm hoping they'll run second and fourth. If I can get 10 to 1 each on both, because Bafford's gonna, Dennis, you're not gonna get 20 to 1. People, there's too many Bafford
No, no,
lovers.
no, no.
But if
That'll
we can
be
get 10 to 1, 10 to 1,
12 to
and then
1.
horse
Yeah.
in one of these other long shots, and I do like number 10, Tappet Trice. I like
Yes.
he has some kick late as well. And next, so those are the horses that I really think are all going to be running, and I will have them in my supers. But I like Newgate and I like Sierra Leone. to flash, and I'm hoping to get 10-1 on both.
Love to see a speed duel in this one.
Oh, wouldn't that be sweet?
Forever Young is going to want the lead.
Author's
Yep.
Ride should be fighting the number 12.
Yep.
They're going to push that horse, and any other horse that tries to go. I think Mixito will be in the early hunt
Yep.
as well. And so
Yep.
I think those are going to die off. And I believe the next crop, there's where we're going to collect our money. I do like Forever Young to being in there. He's going to be in
Oh
my
yeah.
super, and
Yep.
City of Troy. You can't throw it out. I'm having trouble figuring out who to throw out of the mix here. Uh, you know, don't know right now. I've got it down to $4. I may be aggressive and bet $4 for super instead of two. So I just made the $4 super. I violated my rule, but that's how I see it. I think it's going to be very exciting, folks, because I think it's going to be a cavalry charge at the end.
Going to be fun race to watch because if this sets up the way we both are looking at it, and
Love Newgate. Yep.
that's why I love Newgate, is because
He'll be in there. Yeah.
I figure with so many good horses that are going to want the lead in here that you know you're going to have a speed duel, and I just think this sets it up for Newgate to come on, and that combination, there I just love some of these jockey trainer combinations in these big races because they've worked. This is the race they were targeting all
Yep.
season, and
Right.
if it sets up for them pace wise,
Yep.
they got a shot. And I don't worry about that 13 post position because he ain't going to the lead. he's just gonna settle in and make that big charge at the right time.
We could have a discussion, Dennis, if this was horse racing. We would talk about people looking at post position, and I think people lump them all in together, and you can't lump speed horses from the outside with closers from the outside and make conclusions. You've got to separate and slice and dice the data and make some finer distinctions. In other words, a speed horse, if the turn is close and they're coming, that might actually hurt them. They're going to have to use more energy. But most of the time, closers are closers, and they'll just ease their way over, and it's no big deal. But statistically, Dennis, all they'll see is we had 20 horses last week from position 12, none of them won, but that kind of thing. But if they were all speed horses, it won't be. But if they were all, that's different. If they were all closers, that made sense. And you got to think about the odds and the running style in post position analysis, folks. And I've done some of those studies way back in the day. And I'll give you a hint, a lot of time it's track specific
Oh
because
yeah.
tracks have a different layout
Yep.
and banking, and the way the track can be furrowed, and if it's dry, a turf course dry in the summer, you can watch Ellis Park in the summer in hot Kentucky, and it's just the dirt flies off that turf versus what we're going to see at Del Mar. The nice winds, and it's by the ocean, and it's lots of moisture. You're not going to see a lot of dust flying from the turf. It's a different kind of turf. It's like hard grass versus softer grass, and that is horses behave completely different under those conditions. So that's why horse
Yeah.
racing's
And
harder
that,
than fantasy football, folks. Just wanted to give you a little
oh,
hint.
de- definitely harder, but
Yeah.
another fun
Yes.
thing to dabble on. So good luck with your picks this week, but we'll get back to fantasy football because
Yep.
big games coming up on Sunday. Let's take a look at some of the squirrel games. Those are the games that are so annoying. So, Professor, why don't you take us through some of your data when it comes
Okay.
to our
Uh-oh.
games this week because oh my goodness, we have seen such a spread top to
Yeah.
bottom. We've seen
Yeah.
games that with over unders in the high 30s all the way up into the low 50s. That's a huge spread. 15-point spread in over unders is huge when
Yeah.
it
So
comes to
what are we
fantasy
looking at the
football.
worst game of the week? New England and Tennessee? Is that at 37?
Yeah, let's start with the absolute worst. It doesn't get any worse than that. These are two teams
Let me
that don't
share
seem
the
to really
screen.
like to score a lot of points, although we have seen some big scoring weeks from uh, uh, New England this year, but we've also seen some really bad scoring weeks from New
So
England this year.
my power rankings, Tennessee minus 15, New England minus 17. There we go. So
Ooh,
we have the worst uh, over under 37, and the two teams are almost, other than Carolina, at the bottom, Dennis.
oh,
So yeah, I hadn't finished all my figures yet. I will and post them. Tennessee at home. New England gives them basically everything they want. So the except there's a little bit on the wide receivers. The trouble with all that is the quarterback, and there's just even though they have an opportunity, Tennessee should have an opportunity. And is Tennessee the favorite? Yes, it is by 3.5 points. So
yep.
Tennessee is the favorite. They're home. That's why. And there's nothing to be really scared that New England D has done good things and bad things over
Oh
the
yeah.
the week. So they're inconsistent. This, by the way, if you're streaming defenses, either one is streamable if you can't find anything else late, folks, because of the low scoring and probably there's going to be turnovers. So nothing crazy there. Play everybody. I mean, definitely play Pollard. He's got a sweet spot if he's healthy. He was questionable. I'm not sure what his latest status is. If he's not playing, I'm not playing. I don't even know who backs it because Spears is out, so I don't know who they uh, pull out there to play if Pollard can't play. I would play Pollard. If you're desperate for a tight end, Chiggy could do something, maybe stumble into the end zone. Quarterback is okay, nothing dramatic. New England, though, has to face a tough Tennessee and their wide receivers extra tough. So you play the kicker and the defense for New England. Uh, Ramondre Stevenson has a little bit of issue, but not insurmountable. And if you can get 13 points, and I will be playing him if he's healthy, probably not playing Gibson. I just don't know what's going on. I would thought that they would be balanced, and it hasn't worked out that way for Gibson. If Ramonde's out, then Gibson would probably be a deep flex possibility. I'd have to look see who else. As far as home away efficiency, New England is by far much more efficient than Tennessee. 77 to 10, seven times
Oof.
more efficient at putting game points, yards over time. Home away split, New England loves home or they're away. 54% less efficient away.
Oh.
So that scaled efficiency doesn't look at home away splits. Uh, this home and away split does. So not good. Tennessee, they suck at home. They actually do better away. So the teams are where they don't want to be, Dennis. New England needs home. Tennessee needs away. It's exactly opposite. New England, though, Dennis, away runs 16% less, passes 5%, but they are improving with Drake May. If he can come off the injury report, Tennessee is declining. Home, it's all about the passing, and that's what New England's better at. So nothing here strikes me that I need to worry about my running backs. I'd have a hard time playing the quarterbacks and the wide receivers unless I was in a bind. Would stream the D's though, and maybe the kicker for New England, maybe.
This is a tough game for me because this is the battle of the worst, really, right now. I mean, 2-6 going against 1-6, and Tennessee doesn't do well at home. But New England's actually shown me a glimmer of hope. First 5 games, or first 5 games of the season, they only had one game where they scored 20 or more points, and they lost that game anyway. In the last 3 weeks, they have scored over 22 of the 3 games. So they are improving here. Here's the easy bet. Even though that over under is pretty low,
Yep.
I mean, it's as low as you get,
If
for this
Drake
week.
May's playing, that would make a big difference to me if I was going to bet props.
Correct. And that's the only way. If I'm going to give a conditional pick here, if Drake May plays, I'm taking New England in the points.
Okay.
If they don't, I'm taking Tennessee at home. Either way, I'm taking the under at 38. As far as playing players in this game, oh my goodness. I got to be desperate to play anybody other than Pollard or Stevenson in this game.
That's what it looks to me.
Yeah. Other than those two, I don't like any of
And I'm not saying that those wide receivers or tight ends, Hunter Henry, can't. It's just I'd have to be in a bind with bye week, and that had to be something very amazing in my situation for me to stream some of these guys. I mean, they've got good wide receivers. It's just bad teams, I think, Dennis. I mean,
yeah. And
Drake
Hunter,
May has woke up,
yes,
but he's done it a lot with his legs and running, and
yes,
that doesn't help the fantasy value of his wide receivers if he's
no,
running.
but Hunter Henry has had a fairly good year as far as tight ends go. But again, here's my strategy in these squirrel games. In these squirrel games, I'll play the best player on each team, which for New England, it's Stevenson. For Tennessee, it's Pollard. Other than that, I've got to be really in a bind. Hunter Henry is not the worst play you can make at tight end any given week, but
I got him as a 2 this week. Tight end 2.
He's not a solid pick, but it's not the worst.
I don't know what his prop odds are.
Yeah, this season, if I look at just this season's rankings, according to my consensus data, he's like 17th.
Yeah,
between those.
He's a 2.
So that's not great, but it's but that's the only picks here from a fantasy football standpoint. Stay away from New England and Tennessee's wide receivers. If you're that desperate, might want to take up a new hobby other than fantasy football. Let's look at another one of these squirrel games before we get to the better games. And
New Orleans, Carolina. Is
that's a good one. Let's do that one.
Okay, so I'm sitting there looking. I haven't done the odds yet, but it's New Orleans 7 points over Carolina, 43 over under. So a low over under, but not 37. So there's a lot of games, Dennis, like Chargers, Cleveland 42.5, New Orleans, Carolina 43. Then there's some 45s, 44s. We have a lot of 5 or 6 games. Washington Jets 44. There's a lot of those kind of wounded squirrel games that are right there versus some that are really super huskies, and we'll talk about those. So there's nothing dramatic there. Let's see. Let me pull out my New Orleans. Where are you? There it is, right here. Okay. DAP wise, Dennis, play them all day.
Woo!
Look at that. Play everybody
That's
all day
crazy.
long. Is Thielen come off the IR yet?
He is questionable
Okay,
for
so he
this
has
week.
come off the
Not expecting him to play though.
IR.
Well, they
Okay.
don't have to pull him off and
Okay.
yet until they want to play him. He's eligible to come off, but they don't have to
The
until
Yeah,
he is
these
ready to play.
DAPs is the reason New Orleans, even though that's away, is that Carolina's not stopped anything. So this would say Alave, Kamara, Carr, if he's back, maybe
Yes.
even if you need a streaming, uh, Foster Moreau or Juan Johnson, one of those guys. Kickers D, this is a good streaming D. Streaming kickers, Carolina, Bryce Young.
No.
Yeah, I'd hate to have to play any of those, but I wouldn't play any of the tight ends. I would play Chuba. And is Brooks coming off? Is he going to be in the mix? Brooks?
Not going to play this week.
Okay, so
Not playing this
Chuba,
week.
you want to play Kamara. So your prop is Kamara, Chuba get touchdowns. Anytime touchdowns for $2, there's your prop. Or if you want to extend it, then take the two wide receivers and maybe Olave, and I don't know who's Carolina's wide receiver. The best one is Leggett. So there
Yep.
you go, a
And
four
Coker.
leg. There you go, Leggett parlay, Dennis. Uh, Four touchdowns here. Lave, Leggett, Kamara, and Chuba. Four touchdowns, $2. I bet you get $20. I bet you get 10 to 1 on that, and you only risk. I may go make that bet here, Dennis. That's a crazy bet. New Orleans, 41% efficient. Carolina, 29. Not a big deal, but New Orleans is favored. New Orleans is declining, but they've had Spencer Rattler, Carr's back, so I'm not,
Yeah.
that's only the last 3 weeks. Home away splits. New Orleans love away games, Dennis.
Wow.
They plus 30% more at away. Isn't that wild? And away, they rush more, pass less. So it's a Kamara, plus 7% more rushing. Carolina, uh, nothing really dramatic other than home. They like to pass a lot more, but with Bryce Young, that's extra sad. So there's nothing that really inspires me. I think these are play them if you got them, but don't think they'll be flex more than. I mean, Kamara's never flex. The running backs are not flex. The wide receivers are flex. That's kind of how I would do that and stream the kickers in D's. I think I'll stop there.
Yeah, and here's an additional problem that helps Carolina on the offensive side. Now, granted, Bryce Young's still at quarterback, which is a big limiting factor, but New Orleans is really beat up on
Yeah.
the defensive side of the ball.
Well, you could tell. I mean,
Yeah, they'll be down to their cornerbacks that were actually fourth and fifth on the depth chart to start the season. So that's not good. So that leads Carolina to having some possibilities that they normally wouldn't have. But New Orleans getting Carr back is huge. That's night and day on how that offense is going to look. And that's why Kamara is going to have a big game if he can stay healthy for the whole game. Here's another one that I might take a flyer on in a weird parlay on
yeah.
anytime touchdowns is Taysom Hill. If
Yep.
he is back and healthy in this game, this might be a good spot for
And the
him.
reason is Williams and Miller out on the running back, so
Yep.
they're down to Mims maybe.
Mims is on the practice, was sent to the practice squad.
Oh,
So
who's their second?
he will probably be activated from the practice squad just so they have a body.
But
But
Taysom can
Taysom,
take that role
correct. And that's why I say that
and in the
he's a,
red zone. So
yeah,
there's your
he's
parlay. There's your 5 leg parlay, Dennis. There you go.
crazy, crazy parlay indeed. But I do like New Orleans to win this one. -7, I'll say they'll cover as well. And I do like the over. I think
Yeah.
this is going to be a higher scoring game than Vegas
Well,
expects.
my 5 leg prop needs it to be over, Dennis. I need 5 touchdowns. So I
I think
need to.
it will be over with how beat up New Orleans is on defense.
So it
This
should be
one
entertaining from a fantasy
should
standpoint,
should be
right?
a good should be a good fantasy football game to go select some guys. If Bub Means plays, I would take a shot at him in a flex. I would take a shot at either Leggett or Coker in the flex for Carolina. And this should be a return to good form for Olave if he's healthy enough to play with Carr back. Kamara though is gonna have a big game, and I think Chuba Hubbard will be able to run all day on the New Orleans beat up defense. So that's why I expect the over on this one. Well, let's go to a couple of Husky games.
Which one, Dallas, Atlanta, or Miami, Buffalo? Or you want
Let's
somebody
let's
else?
go Dallas, Atlanta. Let's do that one.
Okay, that is 52. Atlanta is favored by 3 points, Dennis. That is, I
Wow.
was really surprised at that. And that's held. That was early in the week, and I
Yep.
watched that. And, CeeDee Lamb woke up last week late. It's like they put the paddles to him and woke him up. Prescott, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if there was, I don't know what happened. Anyway, they woke up, got some points. So for fantasy, I think that's Atlanta's favored though. So it's probably going to be a back and forth game. Let's see here. Let me pull up my dealies here. So Dallas, where are you? Here we go. Next door. Atlanta, look at Dallas's D, Dennis. Just let's and the
Wow.
worst is Kyle Pitts, and that's not dramatic. So I would be scared. Streamable kickers and D there is fine. Uh, you definitely Bijan. You definitely play Dre. You play your usual suspects. Cousins for Dallas. Elliott's or Cook. I'm gonna pass, but I'm gonna let you play those guys. But CeeDee Lamb all day long, and Dak Prescott if you need, and Ferguson has an opportunity as well. So I see a lot of opportunities for the better players, Dennis. Pitts, Bijan, uh, London, Lamb, Ferguson. Uh, it looks like a lot of players uh, getting lots of points, and I think that's what Vegas sees. Atlanta is more efficient than Dallas last 3 weeks. Home away, Atlanta loves home. 33% better at home. So Vegas knows that. And Atlanta is all about the pass at home. So when I said Bijan, they're 32% less rushing at home. Isn't that? He's kind of the star in away games. So I mean, I still going to play him but just be aware it may be closer to 13 points than 23 points, Dennis. It looks like Pitts and London and Mooney, and maybe Ray might accidentally catch a tipped Drake London pass and score. So there you go for your throw him in the 5 leg parlay, right? You got uh, Algier and Bijan and London, Ray, and then take CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson. 6 leg parlay, Dennis, for $2. Get about 40 to 1 on your money, that tip pass. Dallas is declining, even though they did pretty good. They love home, Dennis, 38% away games.
Oof.
Uh-oh. But away, they try to rush more and pass less, Dennis. That is exactly the opposite of what they need to do. We need to do some studies when the DAPs say extreme opposite. This is an extreme opposite set of circumstances that Dallas finds itself in. So Atlanta loves home. Dallas hates away. So that's got to be figuring in. And so if Dallas wins, that's going to be quite amazing. But I think you'll collect lots of points.
So I am going to take Dallas and the three
Oh,
points.
Dennis.
I'm going against it, but it's got to be all on Dak this week. We have to see the second half Dak from last week to start the game this week. This is going to be a scoring a thon because I don't think either defense is going to be able to stop the other team very regularly. Rico Dowdle is back for Dallas. Who
Oh,
cares?
that,
Who
yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
Who
Who
cares?
cares? Who
I
cares?
don't want the Dallas running back. I will, CD Lamb's going to have a big game.
Mm-hmm.
For Atlanta. Bijan Robinson's going to probably have a big game. I love Kirk Cousins in this situation. All three of the wide receivers for Atlanta make interesting plays this week. Pitts, of course, is doing well here lately. Um, this is going to be a high scoring game. So I'm going over the 52 is my confidence pick. If you put a gun to my head, I'll take Dallas +3. I'll probably sit that one out for playing the over under or the money line. I'm sorry, the line, the given the points, taking the points. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna put your money on this game that way, but I'll put all of our money on the over this week. All right, what is the biggest Husky game we have this week?
Well, that was it. That
That
was
was it. Okay. What's the second best Husky game? Because I think that's the
Miami
Husky game
Buffalo,
where you want
49 and a
everybody.
half.
Ooh,
You want to do
yes.
Miami
Let's
Buffalo?
look at that game. That is very fascinating game.
Yeah, I'm a Buffalo. And this is why it's fascinating to me. Look at these daps. Very, very stark difference from Josh Allen rushing and tight end Kincaid. Yeah, it's you know, Buffalo's favored, but looks like it's a James Cook twofer day. Dennis, maybe even Ray Davis. They they get tired of beating Miami and throw Ray Davis in. So there's your parlay: is Cook for two, Ray Davis for one, and maybe a pick six. There's your three leg 20-1 parlay there. Miami, all about A-Chain and Moster all day long, thunder and lightning. And if you read this, Tyreek Hill, he's going to have to earn his biscuits, and he has done that. But the way the landscape sets up, Dennis, it's rushing, and that is interesting because that wouldn't seem to favor a high scoring game if we're going to rush, rush, rush. Buffalo is double the efficiency of Miami, but and Miami loves away games, Dennis. 38, I'm sorry, they hate away games, so they're 38% less efficient at away. That's not good. Even though they're improving last 3 weeks with Tua back, that's still not good. Away, they're going to try to rush more, pass less. That's exactly what they should do. Buffalo at home, they actually don't like at home, and they are
Wow.
declining. Yeah, and they pass more at home, and that's exactly opposite. So there's some opposite depths and tendencies. It looks like rush. So to me, it looks like rush, rush, rush. And yeah, with A-Chain and Moster and Cook and Ray Davis, there's you another just RB parlays all day long, touchdown scores. You could get your 20-1 on that. And so I just don't know what to do with the wide receivers. I mean, Shakir, I'm
Ooh.
probably playing, but I'm not happy about it. Allen will probably rush in. They'll get something, and Tyreek Hill will. But poor Waddle, it's just been a lost season for Waddle,
Oh
and I'm so
man.
sorry. I missed the Waddle in the end zone. Love that celebration, and it makes me sad that we don't get to see it. I'm a big
Makes
Penguin.
makes
Yeah, I'm a big Penguin fan anyway.
makes me especially sad because he's on our dynasty team.
Well, I wasn't going to say
And
yes.
this,
Yeah, we needed him a lot more than we've
and
got this season.
so, so this week with Higgins out on our dynasty team, my toss up right now is between playing Ertz or Waddle in that last flex. And I'm leaning towards Ertz right now over Waddle. And these defensive matchups convince me even more that I'm a little bit concerned about playing Waddle again this week. I actually think that the over under on this is so high because of all the weapons that Buffalo and Miami have that Vegas figures this, people are going to think this is a high scoring game. I think this will actually be a lower scoring game
Dennis, I'm
this week.
looking at the Washington Daps, and it's tough.
It's a
So
tough one. I know. That's why I say
it's finer than, but Washington is so dynamic, and that you could get in the red zone and Ertz could collect. It's hard to envision Waddle these days versus Ertz getting a
no,
touchdown.
my
That's
other
what you're
big
debating. Which one
yeah,
gets the touchdown to get you close to median?
and
That's what I'm thinking.
that's one of the other consideration I'm making is playing Madison over Ertz in
Ooh,
that flex because of this tough matchup
see,
that I knew
Madison, what
Ertz
is
had.
that? Is that
That's Cincinnati against Las Vegas.
okay? I can
So
pull it. Pull up.
that's a situation where Cincinnati's defense, I think you went by it.
Oh, did I? I don't
Yeah, I
know where.
think it's up higher.
Okay. Um, Dennis, I'm not
There it went.
100% organized. This Breeders'
Yeah.
Cup, my mind is, I'm seeing that superfecta crossing, I'm visualizing that big check when I hit one of these
There it
big,
is, right there,
insane. Yeah.
right there.
So, Madison is the Vegas runner. Is that it?
That's correct, and
It's
he's got a
better. It's
less than
better.
yeah,
It's better.
and he's been getting
And
some
and look,
passes out of
the
the backfield.
rushing, on the way, they rush 9% more. So I think he'll get 9% more opportunity, and it's not too bad. And I think given that, Minshew's going to be firing and has an opportunity, I think you might get you. If you ask me, that looks like where the touchdown's coming from. If of those three, the easier to envision touchdown with Madison there.
Yeah, that might be the way we go
Well, we
in
got
that
time to
one.
marinate. Marinate.
Yeah.
Let the Breeders' Cup tell you. If you get lucky, then go with your hot hand on our lineups. That's our new advice. Use the Breeders' Cup results, your bankroll to decide to hit those. Right. If you hit the superfectas that I gave out, then you
Ooh.
parlay all that into one of those five, James Cook two for five leg parlay things, or maybe Atlanta, Ray McLeod and Cook for two. Get you some nice odds. Make enough to buy your wife a steak dinner or something. Come on now,
I
like
like
to
that.
have on the what is it, the Hunch commercials? You seen that? That maybe that's a hunch.
I,
Let the horses give you the hunch, right? In the winner circle, they're shaking their head up and down as you're collecting. Maybe that's a good sign for your teams this week, Dennis. We'll find out.
yeah, and with the horses, always watch when they're coming out for the post parade, and the horses that are smiling
Yeah,
at the camera
yeah,
and are doing their little dance, their little high step and dance.
yeah,
Those are the horses that are ready to run. So
yeah. Either
watch
that or
that.
they've got to defecate on the track. One of the two. So
Well, lighter horses have
lighten
an
the load.
advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, the old light the load, right? First gray horse on the turf, Dennis. I don't know who that's going to be today at Del Mar. So I think Dennis and I are excited in some ways about these races instead of some of these picks we're going to have to make. There are some lean picks in some of these games, Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
Lean.
I'm at that point of the season, Professor, where some of these choices in fantasy football because of injuries and now a couple of teams on bye are going to be a little tougher to make. So head on over to the scienceoffantasyfootball.com. Check out all of the professor's data. It'll be ready for you to make
Yep.
your game time
I'll have it out.
selections
Yep.
this weekend. And check out my consistency ratings. I've doing a beta test, sharing it with the public, and noticing some interesting things that we'll talk about again next week here.
Love
And
to track the players like you're doing with your metrics. To me, when I go into them, it's like in a nutshell, give me, the landscapes, and that way I can kind of embed it in my head, especially for deep flex. That's just good. I really like that kind of nutshell view that you provide.
and also on that, look for the rising stars. If a
Yes.
guy is fading, don't lean into the fade. And
No.
so that's kind of where I have been using that data. And again, like every piece of data, whether it's a buyer's figure in horse racing or it's my consistency numbers in fantasy football, don't be a slave to the number. The higher number is key, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. So go over to scienceoffantasyfootball.com, check out all of the interesting stuff, and come back here next Wednesday for another edition of the Science of Fantasy Football.
Get to work, folks. Well, that was good, Dennis. I like that. Okay.
That was very good.
Yeah. You got to go to somewhere.
I got time for a little after show if you got
Do
time.
you
I got
want?
time.
Yeah. So why don't we handicap another?
Ooh,
Why
I
don't we
love it.
do another Breeders' Cup race? Let's see. Which one do we want to do? Let's see. The next one is the Philly Mare Turf, or do we want to do the Sprint? What do we want to do, Dennis?
Ooh,
Which
ooh.
one?
Let's look at another turf race.
You
I
like
was always
so that's
I like the turf
race
races.
9, Maker's Mark. There's the whiskey, Breeders' Cup, Philly Mare Turf. Let me share this with folks. Folks, this is
Ooh.
this is let's see, here it is. This is Twin Spires is the betting platform I use. Looking at the pace window here, Dennis. Sorting by running style here. What do you think? Have you looked at this race at all?
Yes. Yeah. So I've looked at all of the races. Let me get this up.
Here, I'll
We're
pull
looking at
the trainer jock for you. I see Ortiz is on full count Felicia. I'm surprised you're not jumping on that. William Buick. Mr. Appleby's
yes.
got a horse.
Yeah, and I do like I here's the thing, folks.
Yep.
You got to play hunch bets
Hunch bets.
sometimes in fantasy football and in horse racing. But here is one for my wife Stacy.
Okay.
Cinderella's Dream.
Cinderella. Look, Appleby and Buick. There you
Cinderella Dream.
go.
So it's got my guys, Buick and Appleby,
Yeah.
and Cinderella is my wife's favorite, but
6 wins out of 7 starts on the
and
turf.
very,
Dennis.
very strong, and a 27% jockey trainer winning percentage. I mean, I
Wow.
love that. I love that. And I love these European horses on the turf. This is a 3-year-old going up against older horses. And like you said earlier, when we were handicapping the classic, those 3-year-olds,
3-year-old can wake up late. It
this
just,
is their, yeah,
I've seen it. Yeah.
yeah, this is their prime time when it comes to their. But this is a wide open race because the 7-horse content is another one that I really like in this situation. Another European horse, this one from Ireland, with Frankie and teaming up with Frankie Dettori teaming up with Aidan O'Brien. Love that horse in this spot too. Another one of these European horses, the last couple races hasn't done much. Why are they shipping him here or her here to the United States? And another 3-year-old. So that's one that I also like in this situation.
I like the 5, Dennis.
Yep.
Uh, nice pace coming back late. He's going to be one of my superfecta horses. 11 out of 17, not bad. But take a look at the ran second in the Del Mar, prepping for this race in
Yes.
September. Had a break from Saratoga, kind of trailed off on that last race at Saratoga. Won, Dennis, they won their money. Take a look. They Gulfstream put them away. Uh, Keeneland, they were trying, put them away. Saratoga won. Then they stayed and got fourth. But I'm thinking this second here. I think they were prepping. They weren't trying 100% there. 12-1. 31% trainer with beaten favorites. So this trainer has a tendency to prep from the last race, Dennis. When you see beaten favorites, it
Yep.
usually means that they prep and they weren't trying the last race. So I think at 12-1 fits
Oh,
in the superfecta, and you got to come home time second in the field. Uh, for sure, it's going to be one of my longer shots to play in there,
you
Dennis.
won't get Jose Ortiz at a better price than that.
Oh, it's a
That
okay. So I got
Jose
a good
Ortiz.
jock.
So
That's just a bonus.
in a very interesting, one of my dad's things he'd love to do is to look at the breeding combinations of some of these horses. A very unusual breeding combination
Oh, and look at
because
the
they,
total jockey and trainer
yeah, oh
stats.
yeah, huge, huge. They do well together. So 25% win percentage together.
Yep.
Um, yeah, this horse is from Argentina, from a Brazilian stud, and the mare was from Great Britain. So you get a little bit of that European flavor in the turf that we love, and you know, he has some experience running at Del Mar as well. So that can be a key on the old horses for courses thing. I do love the 5. I think you got a good pick there.
Yep. I like that too. Well, that was good, Dennis. We'll just stop sharing. Anyway, so there's our
The
secret pick here for the
the
people that stayed late.
the other Ortiz has a pretty live horse
I
too.
I saw that. I
Full count
saw the
Felicia. So
boxing the Otis
woo,
brothers. There you go. Or
should
put them in your try box, Dennis, with some of your other horses you liked.
oh gonna
There
be
you
a
go. Horse
fun
that in.
fun Saturday of horse
Earn
racing.
some prop money, Dennis, for Sunday.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, let me shut this down. Folks, thanks for staying after the show. Hope we gave you a winner.